Yes, welcome back. Now you can see it clearly why these people are melting down.
These are the students Harvard admits by race. If you're in the top 10 percentile of your class and you're white, you have about a 15% admit rate. If you're Asian, you have about a 12.7% admit rate. If you're African American, you have about a 56.1% admit rate and 31.3% if you're Hispanic. If you come all the way down here to the 5th academic percentile, while Asian Americans have about a 1.9% admit rate, African American students have almost a 10 times greater admit rate than Asian American students. It says here, an Asian American in the 4th lowest decile has virtually no chance of being admitted to Harvard, but an African American in that decile has a higher chance of admission, 12.8%, than an Asian American in the top 10 percentile. I understand both sides of the argument and I sympathize with both. The fact of the matter is, this is a very nuanced situation. It's easy to blame one another, but that's the one thing that we shouldn't do. Let me know what you guys think.
I believe you have seen the kind of meltdown going on partaking to affirmative action.
Well, let me just be clear. I got into Harvard only because of affirmative action. I went to a school no one had ever heard of in Denver, Colorado, in a small suburb. I didn't go to Exeter or Andover. I didn't have college test prep. I just happened to be really nerdy and smart and have really good grades and good SAT scores. But someone came to Denver, Colorado to look for me. A Harvard recruiter flew to Denver, and I met up with her at the Village Inn restaurant and did a pre-interview to get to pull me into Harvard. I was pulled in, and the schools like Harvard and Yale that I got into affirmatively. Yes. And it was literally not saying we're going to take an unqualified person and put them in Harvard. Yes. We're going to take a very qualified person who we would never know existed and put them in Harvard. That's how I got there. That's how Ketanji got there. That's how Justice Jackson, I should say. Justice Jackson got there. It's how Clarence Thomas got there. But the minute I arrived from my majority black little town, Montbello in Denver, to Harvard, the first week or two that I was in class, my presence was questioned by white people. I was in this big conference class where some white students stood up and said, those students, the black students, they're only here because of affirmative action. It became a huge argument that we all ended up having. This was freshman year. I had never had my academic credentials questioned. I had never had anyone question whether I was intelligent until I got to Harvard. And it was a defining point of my experience there. It's why I really was one of the many reasons I was miserable there my freshman year. You felt completely out of.
I believe you have seen the kind of meltdown going on partaking to affirmative action. You have seen how she said it clear. I was being taken because of this, because of that. When I was in school, some white people walk up to me and say, oh, she's only here because of affirmative actions. And she quoted example of people that have been in Harvard, that have been in this school, just because of affirmative actions. Now, when you take a look at what is happening, it is like the race bridge has been cut off, and a lot of people are triggered partaking through this. There is one Asian guy, he put out a video. From that clip, I realized from the statistics, black people have a higher chance being taken into some of these prestigious schools. So now you will understand why the meltdown is going on. Some people believe black people will never have the chance to be enrolled into Harvard. Reasons, you see what is happening. Michelle Obama, Hillary Clinton, I don't want to call because the names are just, they have been melting down on social media, particularly through the latest decision. You will see why people are so obsessed with race.
Diversity is. That's what he said. And so he doesn't get it. Well, let me pose this question to you, Justice Thomas. Could your mother and father vote in this country? Because had the 14th Amendment actually had us on equal footing, they would have been able to vote. And you know why that changed? Because people got out and made it change. If we didn't have to, no one would do it. Who wants to get hit by water from a water hose? Nobody. But that's what people did in order to get the vote. So when you say you don't know what diversity is, I say you're full of it.
And I think it's really important. I think it's really important to note, I'm sorry, my earpiece is buzzing. I think it's really important to note that something you've noted a lot, Whoopi, is that the
group that has been most successful in accessing diversity initiatives are white women.
Yeah.
Right? That's the group that has been most successful. So when
That's
we're
a fact.
talking,
She's not saying anything against white women. Let's be clear. That is a fact.
That's just a fact. And so when we're
Hillary Clinton tweeted this recently. The Supreme Court recent rulings were sadly predictable for anyone who understands the right agenda. Their goal has always been to install justice whose job is to turn back the clock of our freedom on decades of constitutional decisions and on our continuing struggle to form a more perfect union that includes all of us. Let's let's vote out their political enablers and run in the dark subversive money that support them in their quest to reverse a century of progress. That is Hillary Clinton talking. This is so clearly tells you how Democrats are angry partaking to what the Supreme Court recently did. It is actually shocking. Candace Wen actually blew up on Michelle Obama struggling to eliminate this issue of racism. I don't see why people are so obsessed with it.
The Supreme Court has upset a 45-year precedent, ruling it unconstitutional for universities to consider race in admissions. Now, the 14th Amendment is supposed to promise equal protection. But if everyone was actually treated equally, we wouldn't have had.
Yes, partaking to this situation, I want to know your thought concerning affirmative actions. Is it right for people to be enrolled into a school based on their race? I said it on one of my videos where I reacted to this representative going viral on TikTok, accusing a lot of people partaking to this topic. Is it right? Based on my thought, people should be enrolled into any school based on their merit, not race issues. When you look at the percentage, like we saw at the beginning of the video, you will see it clearly that some group of people are enrolled in some of these schools based on it should not be so. Some people got offended, after I pass out my point. So I want to know your thought on this topic. Please drop under the comment section and be respectful